and welcome to another Raw Attraction Magazine podcast. We're at number 97, and I'm really happy to announce we have Adina Rivers on the line in Bali. How are you doing, Adina?
Very good, very good. And I like to be 97. I would prefer to be number 100, but 97 is cool too.
Yeah, we have Teal Swan back for number 100. She came on for the first podcast, so yeah, we've got a good one lined up for that. But you are someone that I followed for a long time now. Like, we haven't managed to speak on a podcast until now. I'm surprised it's taken so long. I think we started our businesses and in this world of sexuality and intimacy teaching and love teaching around about the same time in 2012. And I've been watching what you do. Obviously, you've broken through on YouTube and Instagram and have quite a huge following now. So yeah, it's just maybe if you could give the listeners who perhaps haven't seen you online a brief introduction to what you do and why you do it.
What I do and why I do it. What I do is who I am, and why I do it is because I'm passionate about what I'm doing. But I suppose that's not really a good answer. So for those who don't really know me, I speak about sexuality, sensuality, personal growth, anything that has to do with how to live life a little bit better, how to make life a little bit easier and a little bit more joyful. That's what I speak about from a very personal point of view. Always like showcasing my own life and my own mess ups and sharing all the learnings that I had from these beautiful experiences.
Can you remember the reason you first started in the first place? Because I know you've got a website called My Tiny Secrets, which has a lot of articles in it, and I think you must have started YouTube quite a few years ago as well. What was the reason that you decided to take the path in sort of putting yourself out there as a sexuality, sensuality teacher?
It was just a random thing, actually. There was never the plan that I wanted to make a big blog or I wanted to start a huge YouTube channel and want to be super successful with it. It all just happened while I was on it. And the main reason that I started to write actually more about sexuality and sensuality was that I was going through my own challenges in my life. I was going through a lot of challenges in my own relationship. And then I started to write about it. And by accident, or I don't know how, there were more and more people who were interested in these articles that I wrote. Then some of them got viral, and then everything happened quite organically. From there, then I started to make YouTube videos, actually because I wanted to share videos with my followers who had signed up for my newsletter. And then I wanted to upload those videos somewhere, and it happened to be YouTube back then, 4 years ago. And then those videos also went viral on YouTube, and that's how it all started. So nothing was ever planned, but I think anyways that's the best way for it to happen.
Yeah, as long as you're following, I just watched a recent documentary. It was all about intuition, and like it seems that you very much were doing that, like following your intuition, your path, you're expressing who you were through these articles and then through YouTube. And then once people see who you were, they liked it, they shared it, then everything grew from there, right?
Well, honestly, Steve, I think that's the only way to be really successful in this freaking life, to really do and act and share things that are really coming from the heart. I mean, there are some people out there who people might consider as successful because they're making millions of dollars, but yet I don't consider them successful. For me, a person is only successful if body, mind, and heart is all aligned, and that is rarely the case. And I think when people really share from the heart, and then plus they can make some money with it, dude, that's the best thing ever. I think it's the realest thing, and I think as we are progressing on this planet, as this planet is evolving also into what some people might call a higher consciousness, I think that's the only way to be successful in this world.
Yeah.
To keep it real, to be passionate about what we are doing, and to really speak from the heart.
Yeah, a question I probably wasn't planning on asking you, but it's coming up now, is like, what we both follow a guy who we respect and love, Gary Vaynerchuk, and then with his hustle mentality, do you kind of, in all your work, and I would say you were successful in terms of definitely getting your message out there, you're impacting a lot of people, you're changing consciousness of people because of the content you put out there, but do you have like a hustle mentality, or is it more like, I don't know, chilled out, I will create when I want to create? Where are you on that grind and hustle thing?
Well, I would say, first of all, I do love Gary. Number two, I don't agree with everything that Gary is saying and doing. It doesn't appear always healthy to me. I'm in terms of work-life balance a little bit, but I do believe in hustling and grinding a lot. Like, I'm hustling and grinding all the freaking time. I'm working so hard. I'm working my ass off, literally, and I think that's really, really important. But what I also do is, once I feel that it's getting too much for me, once I feel the stress is taking over, once I feel I'm not enjoying anymore what I'm doing, then I know it's time for me to stop and to retreat back to myself, to give myself some time and some space to come back to who I truly am. And I think this is so important. I mean, it all depends on how much energy you have, of course, but I think really a healthy balance between hustling, grinding, but also understanding when it is too much for you and your body is really, really important. Otherwise, we end up sick, and I really don't want that. I want to enjoy life, but I also do want to create. And when we want to create and create successful businesses, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
We have to hustle and we have to grind, but we also have to relax.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about cycles. Like, you need to retreat into yourself to know what creative energy wants to be expressed through you, and then when you know, like when you truly know, then go for it. Like, go hard and work as hard as you can, get a team involved, like push whatever that creative expression needs to be out there in the world, and then it's a cycle of going back into yourself and finding out what the next thing is. That's what I kind of find. If we're too much in that masculine kind of grinding thing, then we never get in touch with this feminine side, which you obviously really, especially with this sexuality teaching, which is very, very hard to really express the femininity sometimes when there's so much shame put on women who express this stuff. You are someone who's always expressing your femininity and the innocence of what it is to be feminine. From my spiritual teacher that I was with a couple of years ago, she would always tell me that the divine feminine is the expression of innocence, and you really, really embody that. So yeah, I don't know if you have some words on the importance of the innocence with all this sexuality teaching, and how you manage to embody that through all the comments you might get about videos or photos you post. I know I've seen that sometimes you get some backlash. Like, how do you manage to maintain that innocence and beauty around all of this teachings?
Steve, authenticity, realness, authenticity, really sharing from the heart what I'm feeling right now. So if I receive negative feedback, then it's not, what I'm doing is not pretending that it's not hurting me because I want to pretend that I'm a strong woman, I can take it all, no. I will share with whoever is around me or with the people who are following me that it does hurt me in my heart, and it does. I'm a human being, and I think this is so important, because why? And by the way, that's not just for women like that. It's also the same for men. We're all made up of the same two energies, of the feminine and the masculine energy. You as much as me, just that you have a more masculine expression because you have a masculine body. But you know that you of course also carry, sorry, my phone dropped, the feminine energy within you. So I would say that for all of us, it's really, really important that we share from the heart, that we are these innocent beings, being truthful with what we feel. And the more we share that, the more we are speaking from the heart, the more we can feel again. And honestly, that's what everybody wants. Like all the people following me, all the thousands of emails that I'm receiving, all of them are saying, Adina, how can I have an orgasm? How can I experience more pleasure again? And I tell them all, don't start working with your intimate area. Don't start with yoni massages and lingam massages right away. Start working on your heart. Start expressing your heart again. Once you're capable to express your emotions more clearly, once you're able to cry from the heart, and you are not scared to cry, to be angry, to have whatever expression that we might feel during our journey on this planet. Once you feel all that and you're not scared of it, to show it, then you can tap into your sexuality. Then it's the right time. It's too scary to tap right away into sexuality and to want to have the crazy, massive, multiple orgasms and stuff like that. No. It's good to start work first on the heart.
Yeah, I would agree. There's definitely many layers you need to get to before you get to sexuality. And
I mean, it's a way too. Yeah, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. It's also great to work with your sexuality if people feel so. But I've also seen in a lot of workshops, tantra workshops, that it was too much for people. It was just too much, so that it freaked them out even more, and then they never wanted to return again to the workshop or diving deeper into sexuality, because they felt incapable actually to dive deeper into their sexual body. And that was because it was too much. Some people have experienced so much trauma that they first need to slowly, step by step, work on that trauma, and not in gigantic steps, but small steps.
Yeah, before we talk a bit more about sexuality, I just wanted to jump back with the heart comment, and also around what I see you do as well. You say you speak your truth, your authenticity, but you also, I don't ever see you go into really victim mode. You're always finding a solution that is very much love based, which is connecting with the heart. Has that been a big journey for you, to step out of victim and then finding the answers through your heart? How has that journey been?
It's a very good question, Steve. I like that question. I also like the observation. Yeah, exactly. I'm absolutely not a fan of categorizing anyone, least myself, as a victim, ever. Even if other people would say, oh my gosh, poor Adina, or so, there is no such thing as a victim. We are all victims and we are all villains. So we are always on both sides of the story. And I think the moment we understand that we are everything or we are nothing at all, we are better to understand, we are more capable to actually create our reality. And I think what I always do is, when I share with people how certain situations made me feel in life, I always try to incorporate also a solution or something that I understood through this situation. For example, I got, as many other women, I've experienced sexual assault when I was 17 years old. The 17-year-old girl, me back then, didn't know how to deal with it. It was really painful. And I carried it on for many, many years of my life. Now, some people would say, oh, poor Adina, she has experienced something so hard. Honestly, I say, thank you for that experience. Thank you for giving me the chance to experience this, and through this, be more empathetic, have more compassion for all these women out there who experience the same. Have more compassion for myself, also have more compassion for other men out there, So I always see that any act that someone does to someone, may it be mean or nice, is an act of love. All we are seeking all the time with everything that we're doing in this life is an act of love. So when people are really mean to me, are really hard to me, and put me down, it's an act of love that most often they want to be seen by me. And if they cannot be seen with a gentle act, then they try to do it with a hateful act.
Yeah. One of the same spiritual teacher that I mentioned, she used to tell me all the time, there's two expressions in the universe. One is the expression of love, and one is an expression for screaming out for love.
Exactly.
That's all there is.
Exactly.
And I mean, we certainly don't condone violent acts and abusive acts. We should be looking within ourselves to not lash out at other people, but as we're on this planet evolving, this is one of the biggest things and hurdles we have to get past as a human being. So yeah, if you have a specific point of like when something changed in you, like when you were, I don't know, in your 20s, when you put this thing behind you that happened at 17, was there something that really helped you switch from out of that mentality of victim and into like, I'm just gonna love as much as I possibly can? Was there something that happened, or just a process?
Nothing that happened. You know, like people always ask, and I see that. I mean, you are asking great questions, but what I want to say is that I receive oftentimes the same question: how do you get so positive, Adina? What changed in your life, and how can you see everything so positive and that? So, and then I always look for the magical pill. Oh, she did this retreat, or she did that special thing, or she went to this special teacher or so. Mm-hmm. And I always tell, look guys, the process is gradual. The journey is hard. The journey is tough. You face so many fears, so much shit inside of you, and you have to go through all that. So for me, I can say it's been a long journey. I haven't always been like that. I've been deeply immersed in the world of drugs, alcohol, and a lot of shitty situations. And I've not been a nice person. I've lied a lot, and I've really been the opposite of what I am today. But at some point, I decided that it was enough. I don't know exactly why it happened, but I knew there was this one point in my life where I realized I cannot go on like that. And it was a moment where I had betrayed my partner, I had lied to my partner, I took too many drugs, I drank too much alcohol, I woke up, felt shitty, and I was like, no, Adina, that's not you. That's not you. No. And I just felt something inside of me. And in that moment, from that moment onwards, that was like about 8 or 9 years ago, I changed literally everything. I changed my friends, I changed my diet, I changed the way I treated my body. I didn't go party anymore, not the way I used to party. And I immersed myself in everything personal growth. I started reading like crazy, studying like crazy, and that's how it gradually changed. And I'm super, super, super grateful for everything who I was back then, because it showed me how it taught me empathy of how most people on this planet are living at the moment. And I know how painful it is to live this way, to live a 9-to-5 job, to have to report to a boss who you don't really oftentimes like, who doesn't treat you nice. Then it's really hard to live a healthy life when you have a 9-to-5 job. You know, you don't really see your loved ones, but you have to see all the time maybe people who you don't really connect with on a deeper level. So I've been there, I've seen all that, and that's what I really want for other people. I want to empower them now and make clear to them that anyone can do anything. I'm not coming from a rich background. I'm not coming from a crazy successful background, and so I had to work hard for everything that I'm doing. But anything in this world, literally anything is possible. Any dream can come true. And it's crazy. Once I took this decision that anything is possible, every fucking little thing changed in my life. It's crazy. From that point onwards, I reached 200 million people in this world. So far, I'm like invested in 2 vegan restaurants. I've created my own smoothie bowl bar. I've launched 2 online courses. I had a website. I don't know, like literally anything that I started from that day got successful. And I think it's about the mentality that changed in my mind. Because before that, I was literally not successful at all.
Wow.
Really, literally. I got kicked out of my jobs. My boss didn't want me. I tried to find a job. I couldn't find a job. So whenever I would be going against my soul's calling, it wouldn't work. And the moment I fearlessly stepped onto this path of deciding there's something bigger out there for me, and I know it's out there, and I'm gonna believe in it now with my whole heart, it worked out.
Wow, beautiful story. Wonder if you can talk a little bit about how the process of intimacy in your partnership has helped you in the journey, because I mean, for me, it was very much that I realized sort of 6 years ago when I started this thing that intimacy was the unlock for so much, because you have that mirror in front of you all the time, in your partner, and even if you don't have a mirror, you have the reflections of your friends, family, perhaps you're dating at the time. There's always these reflections around you, but when you're in a partnership, everything's sort of like 1,000 times more intense. So how has your partnership really been the catalyst to all of this? Has it been a major thing?
It's been a major thing, definitely. If you spend, I mean, I spent, how many years is it? Like 13 years, 14 years with my partner. And we basically grew up together. So he has seen me at my worst, and he has also seen me on the other side. So it is beautiful to be witnessed by someone throughout the whole journey. But it's also exactly that makes it hard, because when we get to know a new partner, we can always present ourselves the way we are right now, right? And that is so much easier sometimes, because of course right now the person that I am right now is so much more likable than the person I was back then, you know. And me, I'm just so much more extroverted now and kind, and you know, I do better things. But back then, so many things that hurt Oliver, that put a huge toll on our relationship, and it's still affecting our relationship, to be honest. So it's the hard thing is to really stay for a long time with someone and to work through all these difficulties without running away. So, and I must say, I think it is these challenges of staying with someone for so long and not running away from something that is not working, or when the relationship doesn't work very well for a long time, and try to find a way to adjust again to each other, to learn how to grow together again after huge difficulties.
So yeah, moving on to sort of the topic of your education around sexuality and sensuality. Let's start with what has the impact been that you've seen from your viewers and readers? What kind of things have hit you most hardest in terms of what people have learned and gained from watching you?
Well, oh my gosh, so much. It's sometimes I'm freaking out myself. Yeah, I'm receiving these emails and messages, and people keep telling me, "Oh my gosh, Adina, everything changed after I started watching your videos a few years ago." You know, sometimes it feels so weird because I'm still here living in my little bubble here in Bali, and I don't really see what's happening for other people out there. But then I receive these messages, and people tell me, "Yo, like my relationship with my partner is totally renewed. I'm having so much more confidence just by following you and watching your content." And I think people have all kinds of realizations depending on where they come from and what they seek to learn. And the most important thing really for me is, that's why I love to speak about sexuality, because once you start speaking about sexuality, you always speak about more than sexuality. You always speak about the childhood, the past, the challenges, the physical ailments, you know, it's all included, the current circumstances in your life, stressful situations. You have to take everything into accountability if you want to have a better sex life, right? So that's why for me personally, honestly, it's not that I'm so crazy just wanting to talk about sexuality, but actually I do want to talk about like how to have a better life, how to be more joyful. And when you speak about sexuality, that all happens at the same time.
So I think you agree with me in terms of what we spoke about earlier, of like, yeah, before you get to sex, we have to just look about what is going on with your life and
Yeah.
how you feel in your body. Is that the first thing that you would recommend that people do? Like, just get in touch with your body. I mean, you've mentioned on your journey, like the first thing was like you changed everything you ate. Uh,
Mm. Yeah, I do. Of course, that's the most important thing that we have to do. If we want to feel more in our bodies, which is what sex is all about, or good sex is all about, then we have to change the way we feed our body in every way. Physically, with the foods we eat, energetically, with the surrounding that we have around us. So that's people, that's how we live, that's the work we have. And then that all will help us to feel more in our bodies. That's why I always say, you don't have to, if you want to have a better sex life, people don't have to start working with their partners, or as I said before, go to a tantra retreat or something like that. No. People have to first start with themselves. How can they themselves clean up their life and their body? And once you clean up your life and your body, you will naturally start to feel more. That's why also in the end now, I created the Sensual Body Transformation online course, because actually I was wanting to create another online course for men and then another online course for women about sexuality. But then I thought, no, you know what? The best way to really help people to feel more in their sex lives or just in their everyday lives is by them tuning in more into their own bodies. And that's then what I did with the Sensual Body Transformation.
Yeah, it's incredibly important. For me, I'm trying to think what I did when I first started feeling my body now, because now I've got to the point where if I don't have to be making love, but if I'm in a turned on state and there's sexual energy running through me, if my partner licks my forehead for like longer than 2-3 minutes, it sounds weird, but I can have these brain orgasms where like every neuron in my brain is on fire, and it can go on for like 15-20 minutes. It probably could go for an hour. And when people ask me about that, I'm like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, there wasn't really a set process. I can't give you the ingredients of how I got there, but it is everything about what you're saying is feeling your body more and just allowing yourselves to feel more, especially from the heart. And then we have this chakra system inside of us that really the yogis found out many centuries ago, where they're associated with different parts of the body which normally have more nerve endings in these parts of the body, so you can activate these to have orgasms, I think, pretty much any part of your body. That's kind of the end state. Perhaps you can get to that over a few years' work, but yeah, it all starts with this sensual body transformation, which you've essentially started a course about.
Yeah, and I also want to mention, now that you're speaking about orgasms, and I know that a lot of people ask me a lot about orgasms, I want to say that for me personally, it's not all about orgasm. It's not the end goal for me personally is not orgasm. Number one, it puts a lot of people under pressure who cannot experience not even a tiny bit of orgasmic pleasure, and there's a lot of women and men, more and more men also, who cannot experience that. So for me, I think it's actually not really important to focus on an orgasm, or to reach an orgasm, or how to have a more intense orgasm. For me, it's really more about increasing the little sensations in the body. And the thing is that the way we have been raised in the current system, in our current economy, is numbing our bodies. We're getting numbed, and we're numbing ourselves. And we're not even realizing it. And the way we're numbing ourselves is through food. Like, so much chemicals in our food these days that is naturally numbing every cell in our body. We're not eating alive foods anymore that are making us feel alive. And then our whole surrounding is oftentimes numbing us as well. And the thing is, once you are numb, you don't even realize that you are numb. And that's the difficult thing. And then that's when depression starts. So I think it has to start so much earlier. Before we can even talk about orgasm, we have to talk about feeling more. And that's it's. I mean, I keep repeating the same thing over and over again, but I'm saying that because I want that whoever listens to this podcast here, or whoever listens to my voice, and the messages that I put out there, understand that it's not important to reach an orgasm right away. Yes, an orgasm is a beautiful thing, but to live and to breathe and to feel your body, that is an orgasm in itself. So any little emotion that someone can feel a little bit more, that's already an orgasm, I would say. An orgasm for the soul, you know? When you cry, it's an orgasm for the soul. The soul sinks out there and says, yay, she or he
Crygasm.
so much. That's awesome. Yeah, cry a little more, you know? Or when you let out all the emotions from stuck anger or so, and you like smash something without hurting someone, okay? But you smash someone and you really let it out and you voice it and you scream. That is an orgasm too already, you know. And once you feel all that, once everything comes up, all the emotions, then maybe eventually a physical orgasm also can happen. But I think it's really not that important. And also, we must say, you and I, we are in an age where orgasm and all these physical sensations are really important. I think as we get older, let's say maybe one day we're going to be 60, 70. I tell you, all these things are not so important anymore. What matters more is that we can say we truthfully feel deeply fulfilled in our hearts, and that's what I'm all about. That's what I try to share with people.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I probably, and I will certainly, I know I do, but I think I will integrate what you just said more in what I say. I do expect more to men. Definitely push this whole brain orgasm thing mainly because just to get guys to think outside the box instead of ejaculating in the box.
Oh, absolutely. That is really great. It's really great, and it's also great that a man like you speaks about this for other men to realize there's so much more to feel.
Yeah, because the conversation, you know, that locker room conversation that Donald Trump got expounded for last year of what he talks about, and I think most guys talk about that, and I'm literally with my guy friends, I'm just throwing all that out the window. I'm just talking about what else is possible, and
yeah,
the close ones to me and probably some of my listeners have changed. They've genuinely changed because of those conversations, and equally your conversations are incredibly important, and it's something that I will integrate more. Yeah, really important conversation around feeling more, feeling the body more. If anyone lives, one new company that I came across, if anyone lives in, I have nothing to do with it, but they are great. If anyone lives in the USA or the UK, currently they're doing it there. There's a company called Viome, Viome.com, where they analyze your microbiome, the gut and your microbiome, and it's a really, really good way to get the scientific knowledge of what you should be eating. And that I just started a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, and it's definitely changed a lot for me. If you haven't got access to that, just do more research about what is good for your body and start eating that. Yeah, for everyone listening, what can we do to start being more loving to our fellow neighbors, to our fellow humans? Is it literally just more about what you're saying on feeling, allowing yourself to feel more, to breathe more, to take time for yourself, to know yourself, and not expressing with anger towards others?
The best thing we can do to become more loving is, again, it goes back to ourselves, to become more loving with ourselves. It's that simple. We cannot love another person if we don't know how to love ourselves. So it always, and we're not the first one to understand that or to see that. Gandhi saw it, and so many other amazing philosophers and thinkers. thinkers saw it too and preached the same thing too. It all starts with us.
Mm.
So really, really go deep into your own self-healing journey. Take it seriously. If you don't want to start with self-healing, then take on an exercise program and really stick to it. Read about nutrition, or as I say to my people that are following me, they can just start the Sensual body transformation, because that's what I'm doing and that's what we are doing there. It's really all the whole program is created in order to connect more deeply with yourself, to become more loving, to tap more into the sensuality, because ultimately sensuality is the essence of life. That's the most important, beautiful thing. It's bringing out passion, it's bringing out sexuality, bringing out the zest for life, and that's what I want people to feel. So if you want to become more loving, we have to work on ourselves.
Yeah, it's something that Teal Swan says in podcast 100 that we recorded a couple of weeks back. Like, everything is self-love, like everything. So
Exactly.
therefore any act that isn't self-love is essentially self-loathing, or just it's hurtful to yourself. If you're angry at someone else or you're violent to someone else, you're being extremely violent to yourself. And it's a simple realization, but it is the truth. And so
well, it's simple, it always, what I think what is really important also is, if we talk about like how to become more loving to other people, I think number one is realizing that it always starts with us. Number two is that it's also very helpful if we find someone who we resonate with and who we can look up to a little bit, just a tiny bit, in order to get started with our journey. I've realized that a lot of people, once they find the right inspirational person for them, it's much easier for them to kickstart their journey into healing and self-love and being more loving. So this is also something that I can highly recommend, that helps a lot. So if you find someone out there who inspires you, follow that person. Make sure you have as little distraction as possible. Switch out, like take out all the crap from your Instagram feed that doesn't serve you and your personal growth and your self-love journey. Anything that makes you feel shitty, cut that crap out and really focus on those people that inspire you, that make you feel good. And that's how it naturally usually starts. You get inspired by these people, and then you wanna do it yourself too. You want to copy. That's how we all start understand it anyways. When we are babies, all we do is just copying. And it's the same as we grow up. So if we want to become like a certain person, it's good to follow that person and to get inspired by that person.
Yeah, and if you're not following Adina already, please do. She's on it.
Yeah, only if they resonate with me. Not everybody resonates with me, but maybe they resonate with you, or maybe with Teal, or maybe with someone else,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, come wrapping up, this is the chance to tell everyone where to follow you anyway. So you're on Instagram, Adina Rivers. Is it Adina Rivers Official, or what's the handle there? And yeah, tell everyone where they can follow you and a little bit more about your Sensual body program and how people might get involved in that.
So yeah, they can follow, like basically just type into Google Adina Rivers, like Adina, and then Rivers like the river, just with an S at the end. And then you guys can basically find me anywhere on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and that's about it. Don't try to find my WhatsApp number. People tried that. I blocked. But other than that, I always try to answer as good as I can. Instagram is the best way to reach out to me. And then once you find my website, and you will also all the information on my online courses, I suggest like anyone who wants to start to do some work with me should always start with the Sensual body transformation, because it's a 10-week self-love and fitness course that's totally just focused on getting you in your best shape ever. And then people can maybe dive into the other online courses that I have. The pleasure course, where men can learn how to really pleasure a woman from head to toe.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this on audio, we've also got it on video, and you can definitely see that Adina's in fine shape in her videos.
Thank you.
Let's be honest. So thank you so much, Adina, for your time and your love, energy, and everything that you bring to this planet. I honor your work and what you do, and I hope we can stay in touch, maybe do another podcast in the future. And yeah, best wishes in everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Steve. And also thank you so much for your time and for the opportunity.